Promotion from the Championship makes for fantastic news every summer. Last year, it was Brentford coming to the Premier League, which made all the headlines. The year before, it was Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds United. This year, the story of the Championship is the return of Nottingham Forest to the big leagues, and we couldn't be happier. They're not a small club, and their story isn't about punching above the weight. It's about Forest being back where they belong. First up, Forest return to Premier League. Nottingham Forest isn't your regular Championship side, and even though many young Premier League fans might not know about their success, Forest was once champions of Europe. Oh, sorry, not just once, twice. They're not a small club, and if you didn't know about their successes, you should just ask one of the granddads to tell you about it. European royalty is what they were called all those years back, and it seems they finally worked out a way of returning to England's top flight. There's still a lot of work to be done before they can think about a return to Europe's biggest competitions, but for now, their fans will be more than content with their achievement of making it back into the Premier League. After all, why shouldn't they? It's been 23 years in the making. They never even made the playoff finals, let alone be in contention of finishing in the top 2 spots. And surprisingly enough, if you would have told the most optimistic of Forest fans that they'll be playing in the Premier League next year, only back in 2021, they would have told you to take a hike. But that's the thing about football, and that's the thing about miracles. Steve Cooper turned things around for Nottingham Forest in the most insane way, and for a team that was dead last year after the first 7 or 8 games, this is a huge achievement in and of itself. Next, Forest season review. Their season began with genuine fears of relegation, and somehow they've sneaked into the top flight of English football after a 23-year exile. We know some Forest fans, thanks to Twitter, and talking to them about the success was crazy. We asked them if they'd ever experienced a crazier season in their history, and they couldn't think of one. Well, it was super dramatic, and Steve Cooper's already written himself into Forest folklore, along with some legendary names. And now for the Player of the Year. You don't just string together a wonderful season with a mastermind coach. You need quality on the pitch, and it's safe to say that Forest had plenty of it. But now with the season over, the most important question that everyone's asking, who was their Player of the Year? It's a very tough question. For us, looking from the outside, it has to be Brennan Johnson. Imagine being only 20 and coming up with one of the greatest seasons in Forest's glittery history, as he racked up 19 goals and 10 assists in all competitions. Truly remarkable, and the fear for Forest will be keeping hold of their star attacker. He turned up when they needed him most, as he scored in both legs of the playoff semifinal against Sheffield United, and his trademark Robin Hood celebration was amazing to see. Forest fans will be hoping to see a lot more of it in the Premier League, and hopefully it'll be for Forest rather than some other English club. The likes of Scott McKenna, Joe Worrall, and Ryan Yates also deserve a lot of praise for their superb performances, but the 2 names that ran Johnson the closest were Dejeed Spence and James Garner, the loanee from Manchester United. Now we're on to best moment of the year. Was there a sweeter moment for Forest fans other than the final whistle at Wembley in their playoff final against Huddersfield Town? We doubt it. But for a season so remarkable, there have to be other occasions that help them to get that very moment, and they should be strong contenders. Maybe it was their run of wins that edged them closer to a shock automatic promotion spot, just before they lost to Bournemouth in a disappointing result. Maybe it was the confirmation of going to Wembley. But we truly doubt anything comes close to the celebrations after a full-time whistle went off in the final. There shouldn't be anything better than that. Yates swimming on the floor in response to the fans' chants, Cooper celebrating with the team. It was just the most wonderful sight. And now for the worst moment of the year. Forest fans won't be strangers to the worst moments of the season either. After all, those moments are what made their achievements all the more significant. We doubt they've felt worse than an after Boro's 2-0 win at the City Ground in mid-September, which eventually led to the sacking of Chris Houghton. But maybe, for some fans, that was the moment of the season too. For us, it's poetic that the worst moment of the year was also a probable contender for the season-defining moment for Forest fans, as they could not have wished for a better disappointment than Cooper, who completely turned their fortunes around. Let's discuss the goal of the year. Many contenders for this one. In fact, only Bournemouth and, of course, Fulham scored more goals than Cooper's Forest. Some of them were absolute screamers, and we can't help but include the brace that Johnson got in Blackpool. Screamers and Jack Colback go hand in hand too, so they definitely deserve a mention. Perhaps the best goal scored by Forest didn't even come from any of their players, and maybe Huddersfield's Colwill has that honor. But for us, the goal of the year for Forest has to be Dejeed Spence's unstoppable drive against QPR. Up next, the game of the year. No one had expected them to beat Liverpool, the eventual winners of the FA Cup, and they ran them so very close. So off the back of that disappointment, Forest had a trip to Bloomfield Road, and they desperately needed a win to keep the momentum going into the end of the season. The players did exactly that. They powered into a 3-0 lead within the opening half hour or so, with Johnson running riot. In fact, the 4-1 win at full time was a proper reflection of Forest's performance, and that triumph is what gave them the belief to go all the way in the playoff finals. So, can Forest stay in the Premier League? Steve Cooper's worked one miracle. Can he work another one? It keeps on getting tougher at the top, and Cooper will have his hands full in the Premier League. You've got to play a tough team every week, and you've got to set a 40-plus point target to ensure survival in the toughest domestic league in the world. But Forest fans should be optimistic. If last season is anything to go by, they can definitely challenge the big boys, as we saw with their performances against Arsenal and Liverpool. Playing against top opposition week in, week out isn't exactly a piece of cake, but if Forest can keep their core intact, there's no reason why they shouldn't avoid relegation and look to build on from the season after the next. Now, in other news, Man City announces Erling Haaland signing. Well, one thing's for sure, Forest will have their hands full in the Premier League. The current English champions have improved their squad by adding perhaps the world's best young striker to their ranks. That only makes Manchester City a lot more formidable, and Guardiola will be hoping that City can finally win the Champions League next season. It's a deal worth just over £50 million, but City has paid a lot more in agent fees to secure the signing of the Norwegian striker. Haaland has been donning City's latest 22-23 jersey that has a beautiful maroon collar, and he'll be hoping to celebrate many goals with his new club. And next, Benfica announced Darwin Núñez's departure. Even though Liverpool hasn't officially announced the signing of Darwin Núñez from SL Benfica, the selling club has already published a press release confirming the deal. Darwin Núñez, the Uruguayan striker who enjoyed a tremendous season with Benfica in the Portuguese League and the Champions League, has secured a £64 million deal with the Champions League and Premier League runner-ups, Liverpool. With add-ons, the deal could reach a total of £85 million as the Reds break the bank to replace their outgoing star Sadio Mane, who's on the verge of completing his move to Bundesliga champions Bayern Munich. Finally, the 2022-23 Premier League fixtures to be announced. That was quick. It hasn't even been a month since the Premier League campaign came to an end, and we're already a couple of days away from the announcement of next season's fixtures. Premier League confirmed that the new fixture list will be announced on the 16th of June at 9 a.m. BST. The new season is expected to start on the 6th of August, a couple of weeks earlier than usual, considering the eventual break in the season to accommodate the FIFA World Cup taking place in Qatar from November to December. The Premier League will also be featuring the 5-sub rule, which became official in most top-flight leagues in the world last year, and the English top flight has followed suit too. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Nottingham Forest can survive in the Premier League? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.